Hi, it's Ryan from Davis Excel Solutions. Thank you for visiting my page. In this example, I'll be running through a customer analysis solution. And the customer analysis solution is very versatile. It's kind of hard to pick just one example. So I've actually listed out multiple very multiple things that could actually take place. I could do a lot of different analysis to try to pick out what's most important for your business. And so here are some of the things that I listed out that would be of value to you potentially. Defining customer audiences, so your target audience, who are those individuals? Customer lifetime value, so how much a customer spends with you over the course of their quote unquote lifetime with you. Customer loyalty, who are your most loyal customers. Product segmentation, so what are the products that your customers are buying, and then if you throw in customer audiences, you can see which audiences um, are biased to what products. Customer trends, so how customers behave with your business. New product development, so using the information that we can gather about your customers to figure out opportunities for new products. And then marketing strategies, what can we tell about all the data that you have to influence how we should market or how you should market to your customers. And so you can throw, if you have customer lifetime value, you know how much one customer is worth, then you kind of know how much you'd be willing to spend for one more customer from a marketing standpoint. And then customer audiences, if you know who your target customer is and what they like, then you can kind of figure out how to cater your messaging to attract them. So it's the things that I can pull out from a customer analysis solution is vast and it's straightforward, but how I go about getting those things, so all of these are data points that I'm pulling out. How I go about pulling out those data points varies. And so the tool or technique that I'm going to be showing in this example is called regression analysis. So this analysis finds the relationship between variables and an outcome. So if the outcome is customer foot traffic, appointments, cancellations, revenue obviously is a huge outcome you may want to look into. Whatever the outcome is, I can use the information you have on your customers to figure out how you can see or figure out those correlations. So the example that I'm going to be looking at, the outcome that I'm looking into, and I had a unique spin on this because that's not directly related to a business or a customer. But I wanted to have some fun with it and just show you how versatile some of the analysis tools that I have are. So in this example, I'm looking at the outcome of 3 point field goal percentage. So that is the percentage that you make on a given 3 pointer. So if I'm 1 out of 2, then my percentage is 50%. So in order to do that, I had to pull a bunch of information. This is real data that I pulled from NBA.com. So I pulled, I think this is 15, yep, 15 variables. And then I'm looking at, as I said before, 3 point percentage. So this is what happens when you run the analysis. Is a bunch of numbers. No need for me to really walk you through this, but I just wanted to, kind of show you what the output is. You have to run it a couple of times to work with the numbers to make sure that it's the best possible number. So I'm showing 4, but I think I ran even more times than that just to clean it up. So this is the final run. So the most important number here is adjusted R square. That's basically just saying what the higher the number, the higher it of confidence the model has to be able to predict the outcome, or to be able to connect which variables are correlated. So that one is about an 81.5%. And then my first run was 78, almost 79%. So I got an extra 3%, which is great. But in here, I only have three things that are what's called statistically significant. And so it's best to have all the things in your model that are statistically significant. So that's why I had to run it so many times to clear up what what makes sense. So all of this stuff confirmed, statistically significant. And so this is what I ended up getting. So 3 pointers made, 3 pointers attempted, field goals made, field goals attempted, so forth. Height and defense rebound were some interesting ones that came out, but makes perfect sense, as the taller you are, the more likely you're going to shoot bad from three. And this is an interesting one, but it's connected to the height. Is if you're getting a bunch of defensive rebounds, it's seeing a correlation to the more rebounds and the lower your field goal percentage. So if you think of really really short players, they're most likely not going to have a huge rebounding number, right? And then everything in between. What's interesting about this is I'm tricking the model a little bit, because I obviously I know the equation for 3 point percentage. It's just 3 pointers made divided by 3 pointers attempted. So I, as a human being, can look at the information and read the formula. But what's cool about the system is, even without it knowing the formula, it's just looking at raw numbers. It has no, I mean, computers are dumb in a sense. Like, it has no understanding of what a 3 point made shot is, or a 3 point attempt shot. It has no clue. All it's doing is just looking at raw, random numbers and trying to guess what's correlated. So it did a good job. It picked out the two things that are a part of the equation for 3 point percentage, but it also picked out some other things that, we with our natural eye may not have ever been able to pick out, but we may have guessed. This is more interesting when it comes to outcomes you have no clue. So imagine if this was revenue, right? It'd be so interesting to see what are all the possible variables that could be directly connected to revenue. And so each one of these people can be your customer, and it could be demographic information, it could be information as to where they live, it could be information on the types of products. So these could be SKUs, and it could be the type of products that they buy. It could be the time of day that they buy. I mean, the variables can be literally anything. And I start off with as many variables as the model can hold. And then the more data, the better. So in here, I only have quote unquote 45 customers. Well, technically 44, because the top is a label. I only have 44 customers. Imagine if I had your data with 15 variables and maybe 2,000 customers. And then it would sift through all of this and figure out whatever outcome you want to track. So this is really really cool stuff, and I hope my love of basketball doesn't disconnect how it could be used for your business. So what's interesting about that model is it gives you a formula to be able to forecast something in the future. So it goes through all the data and says, okay, these are the most important points, and these are the numbers you need to use to try to predict something in the future, which is great. If you want to see, if you were able to engage with a customer, and you could kind of predict on day one, if you're able to get all that information about them, how much, or whatever the outcome is. So if it's revenue, how much they would spend. If it's appointments, how likely they are to schedule an appointment. If it's cancellations, how likely they are to cancel. Foot traffic, whatever the outcome is, you would be able to forecast their likelihood of that outcome. So again, in this example, my outcome is 3 point percentage. Let me just put that up here. So it's 3 point percentage. And then the formula is calculating everything with a bunch of zeros. So that's why it has that one. It's just only adding in the y-intercept, which is about 61. So that's why it's 1. So let me just go through this and put in some numbers. Again, the numbers have to be realistic. You can't put random numbers because it's reading it off of real data. So the numbers have to make sense. So 3 and 6. So field goals, it needs to be something at least a 3, but I'm going to do a 5 and a 12. And then this needs to be that, and then times 100, so it can actually be in a number. Position, I'm going to be a point guard, so number 1. Height, in reality, this is in inches, so I'm really like 68. Defensive rebounds, I only get 1 per game. All right, so it calculated that my 3-point percentage would be 48.7%, which is pretty close, because again, I'm tricking the model a little bit, and we can kind of see what it is literally if we just do that. So if we do that, we know for a fact it really is 50%. Why? Because again, we know the formula. The computer does not know the formula. The computer is just trying to guess based off of completely random numbers. The computer is reading all of this as completely random numbers. It doesn't know what a 3-pointer is. So it's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's guessing that I shoot almost a 49% three. In reality, I shoot a 50% three. So that's really strong, and you can see up here the formula that's needed in order to calculate this. But in a real life example, we won't be able to check the math, right? That we won't know the perfect equation to understand revenue in a way from a customer standpoint. We'll just have a bunch of, again, demographic information and other information that you may have on how the customer behaves with your business, whatever variables you have. But we would be able to take variables to find out the correlation to an outcome, and we can use that formula that it will then give you to predict what future customers will do, within will generate for that outcome. So in this example, I typed in all the variables of me, and it did its best guess of what I'll get as an outcome, and it's pretty close. So this is, you know, a somewhat complicated tool that I use for analysis, but I hope you were following along. But I'm always willing to sit down with people and talk through it. There's no expense to calling me and connecting with me and talking through different analysis that can be done on your business. So I'm open to the conversation. Hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.